So in about 5 or 6 days, guys, Star Wars Hunters is finally going to be here. It's insane to actually be saying that finally, because I've been playing this game since late 2021 and it just felt like it was never going to actually release. So I could not be more excited for the game to launch, and today we're going to be ranking all of the hunters from best to worst, at least in my opinion anyway. And if you guys watched not my last video but the one before that, I kind of went through every single hunter, explained every ability that they have, pretty much defined their playstyles, and this video is meant to be kind of linked with that one, so that one explains everything you need to know, and this one will kind of explain roughly the order that they go in terms of worst to best. And from there, from those two videos, hopefully you can kind of determine which hunters you want to play at launch for those who haven't played the game yet. So without wasting any time, we're going to jump right into it. Like I said, this is just my opinion. This is not by any means the definitive best to worst, but keep in mind I have been playing the game since 2021, so I do have a roughly good idea of, you know, what order these guys should go in. So I've got them lined up in order of the damage hunters here. These 5 are all damage hunters. We've then got the 3 support hunters and finally the 4 tank hunters as well. And so let's get stuck right into it. And I'm going to just do it best to worst. I think that's the easiest way for me to work this out. So I know straight off the bat, the 2 that are going to go in the S tier right now is going to be Scorer and Sentinel. Now, I'm not too sure which order I'm going to put them in. I feel like Sentinel maybe is the easier one to be good at, but I also think Scorer, if you're a good player, or essentially if you're a good scorer, I think she is potentially the best. So I'm going to just leave them there for now, and I'll come back and try and fix this up at the end. But I definitely know those 2 are in my S tier, and I don't think any of the rest of them are really in the S tier, because these 2, at least right now in the soft launch, maybe they'll patch it once the game actually launches, but at least right now, these 2 are, for me anyway, the most dominant hunters in the game. Now, moving on to the A tier one, and obviously keep in mind too, this doesn't have an F tier. I don't think any of these hunters are F tier. I think genuinely everyone is pretty well balanced. There are some that are definitely not as viable, I guess, as the others, but I think that's actually really good that this doesn't have F tier, because I don't think any of them are necessarily that bad. In terms of the A tier ones though, I think I'm going to go Diago, probably. I think I would probably go Amara Vex as well. From here, it starts to get really tricky, because the last, you know, all the ones remaining feel very even to me. It's actually, this is a lot more difficult than I was expecting. I kind of thought this would be pretty easy, to be honest, but looking at this now, I'm genuinely stumped already, and I'm only 4 hunters in. I guess what we'll do then is we will figure these out. I think I will say that I think Sentinel goes number 1 simply because he will be most commonly the best, if that makes sense. I think, like I said, if you're a really good scorer, then I think Scorer can be better than Sentinel. But I think Sentinel's a lot easier to pick up, and therefore pretty much everyone who plays Sentinel will dominate, whereas Scorer, not so much. So I'm going to put Sentinel there at number 1. I think this order is pretty good, although I don't know, Amara Vex is very good. I just really like playing Diago, so not really too sure about these, but I think that order is probably the way I would have it. I think I might then put Sprocket in the A tier. Now, he may be B tier, but I'm going to put him there for now. Sprocket is really fun. He's one of those characters that you kind of, I just feel like he goes under the radar a little bit. He doesn't look intimidating. He's a little like a younger Mon Calamari that's just sitting on he's a floating little seat with training droids for guns. He doesn't look intimidating like a lot of the other hunters do, but he's actually really, really solid, and he's also a very good team player too. I find in ranked games that if the other team has a really good Sprocket, it can be pretty hard to win. So probably I don't know if that's a hot take. I haven't really been looking around the hunters community as much lately for who's the best characters and stuff like that, so this could be wildly wrong, but I definitely think that Sprocket deserves that spot. Now, Reeve and J3, these 2 are kind of difficult for me, because I feel like they're a bit harder to get the hang of, because they are melee hunters. They're kind of hard to pick up and do well with, just because you've got to get close and personal, and it can be pretty tough to do that at times. But just like Scorer, I do feel like Reeve especially is one of the higher skill ceiling type of hunters, where a really good Reeve player can actually be pretty dominant. So I think I'm going to put Reeve in the A tier as well, but I'm not too sure about that just yet. Some of these may drop down to the B tier. And like, keep in mind, even D tier, really the difference between D tier and S tier on this list is not going to be that different, because the worst hunter in the game is not even that much worse than the best. The balancing in this game is actually pretty damn solid, other than really these 2 at the top that are a little bit overpowered at the moment. Now, I think to make this a bit easier, I'm going to put my 2 lowest hunters, and those for me are Zaina and Groz, which is really weird, because they're 2 of the hunters that were in the game first, and I do really like both of them, but I just kind of suck with them both. I don't know if it's just me or if they do just suck compared to the rest, but they're definitely my worst 2 hunters. So I'm going to just put them there for now. That kind of makes it a little bit easier to look at. Now, before we go any further, guys, I'm excited to announce that over on the Patreon, I'm going to be giving away 3 premium arena passes for Star Wars Hunters for the launch of the game, as well as 3 arena passes every single season moving forward. The premium arena pass gives you 80 awesome tiers of unlocks you can get throughout the game. And as you can see by the final tier in the soft launch arena pass, some of these skins are absolutely awesome. Now, like I said, the giveaway will be over on the Patreon. There is a link to that down in the description. You can join up for free, so don't worry, it's not just for paid members. Free members will also get a guaranteed entry into the giveaway, but paid members will actually be getting 5 entries into all giveaways moving forward, obviously meaning it is 5 times the chance that you guys win. On top of that, there are some awesome rewards over there as well, like early access to videos, monthly updates on the content you can expect to see on the channel, and even access to the private Discord as well. So be sure to go and check it out. The link is down in the description, like I said. But with that being said, let's get stuck back into the video. Man, for the final 4, I could honestly put all of these even in the B tier, I think. I'm really not too sure what order these go. I think Slingshot, over the course of the entire... Like, at one point, I feel like Slingshot was actually the best in the game, but they kind of nerfed him a little bit. Like, at one point, he probably went here, to be honest. He was really, really good. I'm not too sure he's as good now, but I think he still deserves that spot. I think he's kind of like Reeve, where a really good slingshot player can be pretty dominant, and he's very tanky, but also deals a lot of damage too. I think then... Jeez, this is really tough. Like, I feel wrong no matter what way I do this. At this point, I think I'm gonna put J3 next. I'm honestly, this has really stumped me. Having Char this low, Char's one of my favorites, and like if he potentially ends up there, that just blows my mind a little bit. So yeah, I'm not too sure about this. I don't think anyone's gonna end up C tier. If it is, it maybe would actually be Zaina, or to be honest, it might even be just both of them. I don't think they're that low down to be D tier. So yeah, for these last 2, I genuinely don't know. What I might do, I don't know if this is a hot take, I might put Slingshot up there. Now, I might be ranking him a lot more. I haven't played him as much recently. Might be ranking him more based on like how good he used to be. So maybe he's not as good anymore, but I did just play a few games as him the other day, and I pretty much dominated a ranked game. So he definitely still has potential to be really good. Maybe I just got lucky with him. I'm not too sure, but I think I'm probably going to put Char next and then Utuni. But the thing with Utuni, him being 3rd last on this list, that does not feel correct to me. This is really tough. I think overall, the tiers that these hunters are in, I'm fairly comfortable with. I think maybe Slingshot goes back down here, but I don't know, man. That feels too low. And then that feels too low for Utuni as well. Very, very difficult. I don't know why I've set myself this challenge, guys. This is this is way harder than I thought it would be. But I think I'm fairly happy with that. It's so difficult because the thing you guys have to keep in mind, Chart for me is probably one of my favorite hunters. And like the difference between him being there and me just putting him there is not that much. If they buffed his damage output by like 5 damage per shot, he literally could go up that much. They're all genuinely really well balanced in this game. The only 2, like I said, that are a little bit OP right now are Scorer and Sentinel, and if they brought them down just a tiny notch, I do genuinely feel like the game is balanced really, really well, at least in terms of individual play anyway. If you're playing with a really like stacked team and you've got a certain team composition, then there's definitely going to be little imbalances there. But I think in terms of just like me picking up a hunter and playing with them, I feel like even with Groz dead last, I can do nearly as well as I can do with Sentinel. Same sort of thing with Scorer versus Zaina. I feel like I can do pretty similar numbers with both of them. So yeah, I think I'm going to settle with this for the list. But again, keep in mind, this might look, for any of you who are playing, for example, this might be like, what the hell am I looking at? This is the worst tier list that I've ever seen. But keep in mind that the margins are so fine that literally this could all change, and I don't think I'd argue it that much. If someone just flipped these a little bit and tried saying this was the correct list, I don't think I can really even argue it. So I think I'm going to settle with this for now. I'm fairly happy with it, but it definitely just having Utuni here and Char, and like J3 is my #1 played hunter. He's literally the highest level out of all my hunters, and he's 5th last. So yeah, it feels a bit weird, but I think this is essentially as good as it's going to get. Now, what I'm going to do is every single season, I'm going to come back and do pretty much an updated version of this. So if that is something you guys are interested in seeing, be sure to hit that like button to let me know. And if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more Star Wars Hunters content as well. I'm keen to hear all of your tier lists as well. So for those who have been playing in the soft launch, be sure to leave a comment down below and let me know. Or once the game launches and you've played for a few weeks, feel free to come back to this video and roast the absolute living fuck out of me if this list is absolutely terrible. But that is going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and may the Force be with you always.